Welcome to Tea with Tanya. I'm your host, Tanya Ambrose, an average millennial navigating life as a maternal health professional, nonprofit founder, and grad student. Join me in the tea tasting room where we spill the tea on finding balance and promoting positive living while doing it all. Hey friend, welcome back to another episode of Tea with Tanya. I'm happy to be back in the tea tasting room with you for another episode. This episode is going to be a solo episode, and we're going to be talking all about how we can maintain our well-being and maintain our wellness as we're on our wellness journey while traveling, and especially during the holiday season when visiting family and friends. Before we get into that, it's cold. We're in the thick. I don't know if say we're in the thick of winter, but for me, it is cold. So by my standards, we are in the thick of the winter season here, and I am feeling the feels. I don't want to go outside, but I've been doing better. I've been going outside. But what I'm doing these days, I'm going outside when the sun is at its peak, when the weather is not as cold as ice. But nevertheless, we're going to be talking about holiday traveling because I'm going to be traveling this holiday season. And if you've been listening to the podcast over the last few episodes, you know that I've been on a wellness journey. We have been collectively on a wellness journey to becoming the boss and CEO of our health and wellness. We're not perfect. Sometimes we fall off. And with the holiday season coming up, it's very, very easy for us to fall off of our normal day-to-day routine. So we are going to be talking about how you can maintain your wellness while you're traveling and while you're visiting families. But before we get into that, I just want to say what I'm drinking today. I am taking it back, I guess, old school. Not necessarily having tea. I am just having some hot chocolate with some marshmallows because I'm feeling festive. I'm feeling cozy. And if you listen to our episode about seasonal affective disorder, the guest, Desiree, she did mention trying to find things that we actually like, try to find things that can bring us joy during the gloomy season or even when you're not feeling your best self. And for me, I do live alone. So sometimes it can get lonely. But for me, being able to do something that's going to bring back some sort of old memories or remind me of my sisters when we used to live together, whatever it is, I'm going to do that. So I did definitely, I am having some hot chocolate and, so pretty basic. I am going to attempt to make hot chocolate from scratch. I did that a few years ago and the taste was just not the best. So I never returned, but I am feeling festive and I'm in my era of doing things that make me feel better. Or, cooking has been an outlet. I'm not the best cook. I ain't no chef, but I can make a food taste good. So I am definitely going to try that this season. So yes, I am having some hot chocolate and marshmallows today as I'm recording this episode as well. Now, let's get into the episode. As we know, the holiday season, it's a time for us to reflect. It's a time of joy and celebration and happiness and togetherness. But it's also a time when your wellness routine tends to take a backseat, if you're being honest. From January to November, when it's time for Thanksgiving, if you're in the United States or wherever you are that celebrates Thanksgiving, when Thanksgiving or even when Christmas time comes around, we end up losing our minds. We forget all the work that we've put in prior months ago. But when those two holiday seasons come around, we forget it. But it's really important that we stay on track with our health and wellness goals, even when you're on the move, traveling wherever you're traveling to. So I'm going to share some tips and suggestions to help you stay healthy and on track during the holiday season and as you travel to the different countries to celebrate during this time. These are some of the tips that I am going to be also implementing because, I need to. I cannot afford to fall off the wagon when it comes to my wellness routine because I've been pretty consistent and I don't want the holiday season to now let me lose focus. Because this is my first holiday season where I can say that I've been sticking to a plan and I am very much determined to stick to this plan as it relates to my health and wellness. I am not going to let no amount of food, no amount of nothing let me lose focus in the slightest. So when we're traveling, we do want to pack smart. And I'm telling you to pack smart because that's what I'm telling myself. It's literally a post-it note in my bathroom mirror, actually in my closet, where I need to pack smart because I'm the kind of person that no matter I've I'm a well-traveled individual. I've traveled all over, and I just cannot understand why I keep overpacking. Granted, as a woman, you can never overpack because you need to make sure that you have an outfit or something in case something happens. But like, I'm the kind of person that for an overnight trip, I have an entire suitcase plus a carry-on. That's how extra I am. For a weekend trip, I have a checked luggage, a carry-on, suitcase, and still a backpack full of stuff. So if you get what I'm going, like, I'm just dramatic. I overpack all the time, and then I end up not even using half of the items. So one of the tips for this holiday season as you're traveling, wherever you are, is to pack smart. We have to be smart. So you want to make a checklist of essential items. That could be including your favorite shoes, whether it's heels or comfortable walking shoes. You want to make sure that you're having all your dietary supplements. If you're someone like me who have migraines or their medications that you have to take on a day-to-day basis, you want to make sure that you're packing those because that's the priority. You don't want to be in some other country where you are visiting family in another state or whatever, another city, and don't have these essential items. So you definitely want to make sure that you're packing your dietary supplements and your medications that you are going to need with you. I will say bring a workout gear because I'm a gym right now, and I'm going to try to squeeze in a workout somewhere somehow. It could be a workout at the gym. It could be an at-home workout. It could just be a walk around the community or wherever you are going to be because the goal is still to stay active. So you want to make a checklist of essential items. Of course, you want to have your toiletries. If you're going to, depending on how long your stay is, you want to make sure that you're packing your various outfits and try to match them up together. You can match your outfit with your shoe, with your bag, with your other accessories. So you have an idea as to what you're going to wear and when. So you're not scrambling, trying to dig through your suitcase, trying to figure out, oh my goodness, does this pants go with this top? We're not doing that. Well, at least I'm not going to be doing that anymore. So I'm going to try to put my outfits together while I'm packing. So definitely create that checklist of essential items for packing. And I may put a link to a checklist for essential items as you for you in the show notes, so you can have that as a guide as well. So the first thing you want to do as you're traveling through the holiday is making sure that you're packing smart. The next thing that I'm hoping to do, and I hope you would do as well, is to stay active. Because to be honest, sometimes when we're traveling, that means it depends on your mode of traveling. If you're doing a road trip from one state to the next, you're going to be sitting for a long period of time. So you want to make sure that you're factoring in different stops where you can get out, stretch your legs. If you're on a plane and that plane ride is absolutely long, for me, I'm going to be making sure that I'm packing or have my compression socks because I'm not one who's going to be walking up and down in the aisle of the plane. Like, no, I'm going to sleep on the plane, sleep until the duration of the flight type of girl. So I'm going to be packing my compression socks, but you can also utilize walking in the aisle of the plane if you have a layover. Like me, I'm going to have a layover for about an hour, I think, or two. So I'm going to use that time to get my steps in because, I still got to get my steps in just for a short period of time. I'm not going to be like this mad woman walking through an airport during my layover up and down. But it's just to get your blood circulating and these different things. That way you can still stay active without doing any sort of high intensity or high intense workout, So you definitely want to consider that. The stretching is key. Even if you're in your seat on the train, in the car, in the van, or on the plane, do some little stretching. You can stretch your face muscles, you can stretch your arm, do whatever you can to ensure that you're moving your body in some way, shape, or form. So that's one thing. You want to still stay active no matter what, because you've been active throughout the year. Let's not change now because we're traveling or because we're on vacation. And I will say the next thing you want to do is plan your meals, because eating while traveling can be a challenge, especially when you have been consistent with your diet throughout the last few months. So when it comes to the holiday season, if you're like me, I'm going to pack my plate really high. It's going to be like high like Mount Everest when I'm eating. And then sometimes I end up not eating everything on the plate, or I'm forcing myself to eat everything because I've already had it on the plate and I don't want to miss a meal. This time around, I am going to be very intentional. I'm going to be very intentional with how I'm eating. So you definitely want to make sure that you are planning your meals in advance. You can do that. But again, of course, or you can make healthy choices whenever possible. Now, granted, I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to be this overly health junkie where I'm going to be like, no, it's Thanksgiving, it's Christmas. I know for me, coming from Antigua, Christmas is our big holiday. We're going to be eating the ham. We're going to have the turkey. Same thing similar to Thanksgiving, of course. But we're going to be having the ham, the turkey, the mac and cheese, the macaroni pie, the scallop potatoes, all these, the fried plantains, the boiled plantains, and all these different things. You think I'm going to pass that up? No, I'm not. I'm going to eat because it's not something that I'm eating throughout the year. But what I'm going to do is make sure that I have balance when it comes to the types of food that I'm eating during that time. I'm going to make sure I have more fruits in my diet because I have incorporated foods in my everyday diet now. So I'm not going to eliminate that. I've incorporated vegetables. So you definitely want to make sure that there's just balance on your plate. You can eat because again, it's a holiday time, but again, everything in moderation and just making sure that you have balance. I remember one time a doctor once told me, and she was a Jamaican doctor as well, and she said to me when we were talking about, how as millennials we can eat better because we want to be healthy, but when you're from a particular cultural background, you don't want to totally give up the types of food that you eat. And I remember she said to me that you can eat your cultured food, but everything is in moderation. You want to make sure that you have that balance. And she said you want to add more fruits, you want to add more vegetables, whether it's a salad, steamed veg, whatever it is. And of course, you have your nuts as well and your fiber in while you're eating. So everything is just all about moderation and just finding that balance. So if you're on a strict diet, then you want to ensure that you're planning your meals ahead, realizing that maybe your family and friends knows the type of food that you eat so that when they're preparing the meal, that they can prepare a meal for you in mind as well. Or if you're having to outsource a meal during the family gathering, because of course, maybe your family may not be making the types of food that you eat or know how to, then you want to make sure that you're planning your meals ahead of time so you're not on your vacation trying to figure out food, because planning is key. You know what I mean? Because you also want to avoid any sort of unhealthy choices as well. You can indulge in your food, but again, everything is balanced, and just make sure that you are monitoring what's on your plate. The next thing while traveling during the holidays, you want to stay hydrated. I cannot stress this enough. I am someone who I've been trying to drink a liter of water a day. I know that may sound a little bit, but from where I am right now, mentally and just in general, a liter of water a day is what I can do. Sometimes I go to a liter and a half. Sometimes I go to 2. It just depends on my mood personally. But traveling, you want to make sure that you're staying hydrated. For someone like me, the way how my digestive system works, I have to ensure that I'm very, very hydrated when I'm traveling. So if you want to carry a reusable water bottle, that's what I do sometimes. Sometimes I don't. It depends on where I'm going. But where I'm going for my trip this time around, I am going to carry my reusable water bottle and just, make it a habit of refilling your water before you leave wherever you're staying at. You have that so you can ensure that you are staying hydrated, because that is key. We know how important water is to us. You definitely want to stay hydrated as well. And then the next thing that I'm going to ensure that I continue to do, and I encourage you to do as well, is continue with your mindfulness practices. We're still doing it. If you've been on this journey the last few seasons, we are still on our mindfulness journey. And when it comes to the holidays and traveling as it is already a nightmare. We already know that. But the holidays sometimes can be a time of really high stress, and emotions are always all over the place, not only from you as an individual, but dealing with so many other personalities when it comes to maybe siblings or other family members. Things can get heated really quickly. So you want to ensure that you're prioritizing your mental wellness even during this time. Don't you sacrifice your mental being or mental wellness just because you're around family and friends. No. You have that healthy boundary, that healthy communication, and if you feel like your mental health is in jeopardy, communicate with your family. But also you want to make sure that you are practicing your mindful exercises such as meditation. We're going to do our deep breathing exercise. When we had Christine here on the burnout episode, she told us the importance of just taking a breath. You want to journal. Again, I am a journaling, I don't even know, I guess the queen. I'm not going to come, I shouldn't do that, but I love to journal because it's how I get my thoughts out. So you definitely want to make sure that you're keeping your journal with you so you can do that just to help you stay grounded and to calm yourself. During the holidays and during the hustle and bustling of the holidays and having to be dealing with different personalities around you as well. So we don't want to pass up our mindfulness practices. And we're going to sleep. For me, I've been having some issues sleeping for so many different reasons, but you want to ensure that you're having a good night's sleep. Of course, the holiday season is to celebrate love and joy and be around family and, of course, party. But we know studies have shown that sleeping at least 7 to 8 hours is very, very important for our overall health. So even though you're going to be staying with family and friends, and it can be very hard for you to maintain your regular sleep routine. And that's okay because, who goes to see family that you haven't seen in a long time? to go to bed at 8 p.m. But ensure that you're getting adequate sleep when that time comes, because it's very important for your well-being. And you definitely just want to be in that moment. Enjoy the time, the privilege, the blessing that you have, that you're able to travel to go see family. If you're doing solo travel, again, just be aware of your environment. Let someone know what your location is. Turn on that share location so people can be aware of where you are during that time, because it's a blessing. And I kudos to you. And I do want to wish you safe travel as you travel through this crazy time. Because for me, it's crazy. As much as we're blessed to be able to travel to and from to see our family, or just travel to and from during the holiday season, it can be a lot mentally, it can be a lot physically. So that's why we're going to pack smart, stay active, plan your meals ahead of time, or plan how you are going to eat. You're going to stay hydrated, and you're going to practice your mindfulness and relaxation techniques. You're going to try to get adequate sleep as well. And that's a wrap for today's episode. I know that was a quick one, but I just wanted to comment here because these are some of the things that I'm going to be implementing as I travel this holiday season. So I hope you found these tips and suggestions helpful for maintaining your health and wellness during your holiday travels. And remember, at the end of the day, no matter what, your well-being, your health is and should be a priority for you. So you're going to plan accordingly, and you're going to have your mindfulness techniques and tools ready so you can continue to enjoy this beautiful time of year. So I do want to thank you for tuning in to this week's episode. As I leave you, I do want to leave the affirmation, because we are going to have the affirmation. And the affirmation for today's episode and just for this week is to tell yourself that I will treat myself with kindness, patience, and respect. I will treat myself with kindness, patience, and respect. No matter what, you are going to do that. So I look forward to seeing you here next week in the tea tasting room. Thank you for listening. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Tea with Tanya. If you like this episode, be sure to share it with a friend. Don't forget to follow on Instagram at Tea with Tanya Podcast. Be sure to subscribe to the weekly Tea Talk newsletter. And of course, rate on Apple or Spotify and subscribe wherever you listen. See you next time. I love you for listening.